Hello, friends. Welcome to the Nope Coach podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Culberg, joined today by Heather Browne, who's going to chat to us about reparenting. And I'll be fully transparent, since when am I not? I have heard the phrase before, but not much comes to mind. And I've got a little bit of an insider insight because I spoke to Heather briefly before we hit record. But before I introduce Heather, if you're listening, well, obviously you're listening, otherwise that's a stupid statement. But anyway, what do you think it is? Because whenever I listen to a show, sometimes I'm too quick to listen to their explanations. Like when you hear the term reparenting, and for me, what comes to mind is inner child, though I have my own qualms about that saying. That's a story for another day. But like the younger version of me who perhaps wasn't parented in the way that I would have enjoyed, that I can use skills now as an adult, because there's still, younger parts of me. And I know this because here in Australia, at the time of recording this, it's going out later, but it's book week. And I've realized now that you in the US don't have book week, Heather. So do you know what I mean when I say book week?
I do.
You do, but if anyone listening, basically your kids pick a character from a book and they put on a costume and they wander around and they hold up the book, and it's fabulous. But why was I talking about this to do with reparenting? Oh, when I was a kid, my mum worked full time and didn't have a lot of capacity to go into the book week thing. So usually I didn't get to participate, and anyway, that's a whole thing. But I was like, I can participate in this now. And for those who are listening, don't worry, I didn't push my kids aside and dress up as Princess Elsa and hold the book or something like that. No. But like there are things that you can still partake in now to fulfill the needs of younger me, who wants those things. But anyway, now that I've rambled on for like 5 minutes or so, Heather, over to you. Reparenting. Tell us officially what it is.
You so much. You actually are, of course, right on the target. And it's the place of if your parents weren't able, for whatever reason, to understand what it was that you really needed or what you hoped for or couldn't come through in the way that benefited you, what was that? And what I have found is that most people will talk about the inner child, like you're talking about. And of course, that's where we start because that's pretty much where our connection with life and parents and ourself begins. Kids are pretty good at it and we knock them out of it. But that's the first age that I go into in reparenting. And where I think, very different than others is I then also focus on teenager, rebel, loud
Yes.
voice, and I'm going to do it my way. Damn it. And you're not going to mess it up for me because you're old and you're fogey. A lot of power there, a lot of wisdom there, a lot of balls there. So that's a really important place to speak to. And then fascinatingly, now, most of us don't really talk to ourselves in this stage of what we really need. We're so caught up in what we think we should do and what people tell us to do and what we have to do. So
And what
when you
everybody else needs, like my listeners,
exactly
it's kind of like sometimes you are so focused, and there are times where you have caring responsibilities. You might have young children yourself. You might be the sandwich generation where you not only have your children but your aging parents, or whoever it is, and what you need isn't even considered in the needs of everybody else.
but it needs to be for you. And
Yes.
when you give yourself that opportunity to find out, like, what does little me need? Like hug, play, laughter, a kiss on my boo-boo. Like, what does little me scared, apprehensive need? What does angry, mad, pissed off, rebel? Because that's the one who's going to mess everything up in the adult life anyway. And then what does adult you need? And when you ask yourself those things separately, a lot of times you're going to find the adult one kind of blends the both. Little one needs love, support, play, fun. Teenager almost always needs freedom, excitement, to be listened to. And then the adult somehow needs the incorporation of that. I need to listen to you, but I also need to do it in a way that's safe or comforting or beneficial. And so reparenting is basically acting and walking through life now saying, what is it that I really need? How do I need to take better care of myself? Where am I not? And as women, we oftentimes put ourselves completely last, which is really sad. There's a saying, you can't love somebody else well until you can love yourself. And for about 50 years, I thought that was baloney. And my thought was, I love other people amazingly well. It doesn't really matter how much I really love myself. I can kind of love myself and I'm still great at loving everybody else. And then when I spent a couple of years really focusing on what does it mean to take care of me, to love me, to nurture me, I realized that opened up a depth of being able to love more than I ever knew. And then I tapped into it's endless. Love is endless. So if I keep focusing on how can I love me better, then I can love everybody else better. And so to me, reparenting is the process of moving beyond what your parents did to the age of 18 and saying, okay, throughout life, where do I need guidance? Where do I need wisdom? Where do I need sustenance? Where do I need comfort? Where do I need protection? Who's looking out for me? And that really needs to be ourselves in all the different aspects.
I love that so much. I love the inner children or, different age brackets because, and the way that you said often the adult is a combination of both, because I'm trying to think of a situation like, say you're hungry and like your inner young child just wants chips or fries. Just got back from America. I asked for a burger and chips and they literally gave me a burger with like crisps on it,
Yeah.
and I was like, this was not what I intended. It tasted all right. Anyway, I digress. Young you, I just want chocolate or chips or something fried. And then teenage you is like, you can't tell me what to do. And then adult you can kind of go, well, we could have something, but we also need to have something nourishing or something with protein or something so we're not hungry 5 minutes later or awake all night from the caffeine or whatever it is. So it's kind of, so all parts are considered and not just have, younger you or rebellious teenage you leading the show. Because sometimes I open my mouth with my own kids and I swear my mother comes out and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and other times it's like, I want to get in the mutiny with them and let's, young me and young them. And it's like, yeah, we're going to have little respect for tomorrow. But, having the counsel or the consideration of like what all parts of you are requiring, I think that's really, really wise.
And I think the adult oftentimes negates them. Like, no, you can't have chocolate for breakfast. And then the teenager says, like hell,
Watch me.
turn your back and I'm going to go for that Nestle's Quick or the ice cream. But really, unless there's some dietary or medical reason, of course, but why not? If little me really wants chocolate and my teenager's just like, screw you, you're not going to tell me what I can and can't do. I'm going to find some way to incorporate chocolate into part of what I'm having.
And I think that's the
And
thing.
then
I
we're
think
all happy. Then
when
we're
you
all happy.
ignore and push down and ignore and push down, then instead of it being a little bit of chocolate or on one day or one occasion, and then sometimes, I can't have a lot of dairy. That's been the adult body. Suze is not big on dairy, even though I still crave it. And then when I do have it, it's like, this is a reminder why we don't have dairy very often anymore. Instead of being all that guilt and shame, because then what could be a one-off chance happenstance and then we're done becomes a week, or in my case, potentially month-long binge fest, or, skipping a workout or exercise movement as much for my mental health as my physical health. Suddenly I haven't stepped foot in the gym in 3 years and, so it's just kind of like that balance. And, and also I think the other question, I don't know if this comes into reparenting, but for me, why do I feel like that? Like instead of saying, well, you shouldn't have that and you can't have this and this is bad for you, what's going on for me that I'm suddenly wanting to eat chocolate for breakfast or not answer any of my emails or stay up really late binge watching Netflix or reading a book, knowing that tomorrow I'm going to pay for it?
Well, and there's the place where doing that incorporation is so important because the little one can be depression.
Yes.
The teenager's pissed off rebellion, anger. Both of those qualities are not the best to show up with as the adult. And so when you don't listen to, but I'm going to be really sad and I feel really neglected, and this is absolutely not any fun, this is all work, bluff, your little one gets depleted, burns out, loses its spark. There is no joy. I don't want to do anything. And then the teenager gets mad. And the teenager says, watch me. Nope, nope. I'm going to eat whatever the hell it is that I want. And I am not working out. And you can't say anything. And then all of a sudden, that's when you're in the market buying the crisps or the chips, depending upon where you're listening, and the chocolate bars and the ice cream, and you're shoving it all in your mouth, because that's not the little one. That's the teenager. And then the adult has to deal with all this sabotage that we've done to ourselves. If you
Yes, they're left holding the bag. You're the one who has
yeah,
to drag your sorry ass back to the gym, and it's like, why did I let myself get this unfit? Or who's trying
because
to
I
do your
wasn't
pants up and nothing
listening.
fits anymore, and instead of guilting and shaming, being all like, the problem here was me.
Right. And that's what we don't realize. Those voices are me. So since I'm saying that's something I really need, I really want, how can I incorporate this in some way? The little one really just wants fun and play. And a lot of times it's super simple. You get to have, one mini donut. Yay! It doesn't have to be a dozen. The teenager just wants to be heard and wants some freedom. And you tell them, you know what, you're right. We're going to take 15 minutes and we're going to run across that field as fast as we want and not do what we need to do, and then come back. The teenager's going to be like, awesome, awesome. We think we have to silence it to be so productive, and it's foolish. And truthfully, most people aren't that happy in life. They're overwhelmed, they're exhausted, they're depleted, they're sad. When I can retire, when I have more money, when I'm in love, when the kids are out of the house, we're all looking toward enjoying life later on. And both the teenager and our little inner one don't want us to do that.
I think that's such a great point, because often, you know, I work with people in transformation and change and habits, and usually we make a change from a place where we can't stand ourselves anymore. It's like, I'm totally over this. And then we try and do a total 180. And in that thought of like, I will do this so that, in 6 months I can wear that dress, or I've saved this much money, or, I've done all this sort of thing. And then we wonder why we end up self-sabotaging or ending up in a giant self-sabotage sinkhole. And I think, as you said, the inner younger parts have no thought about future planning, retirement, savings funds, good cholesterol, any of these kind of things.
Adult stuff.
Yeah, they just want to
Unless
have
you make it
fun.
fun. Unless you make it
Yes.
fun. So I know for me, if I'm saving, let's say saving money for a trip, then I put pictures of the trip everywhere. I put how much I need to have. And then every time I save $100 closer to it, I either put up a heart or a sticker, or I cross off my debt. Like I used to cross off a day of school when I was in school, one less day. I do the same thing with my debt. And then my little girl's like, wow, we're so close.
Like
We're
counting
so
down the days to Christmas or the Disney trip or whatever it is, like making it fun. What about for
and
the
it
teenager who can be rebellious
well,
and
it
wants freedom?
but it empowers the teenager. We're going on a trip. Where is it that you want to go? I want to go to Europe. Okay, that's going to take us a little while, but we're going to do it. And I need you because you got to hold me accountable. I got to keep listening to you. We're going on that trip. The teenager doesn't then say, I don't really want to go. The teenager doesn't want to save. The teenager wants to go. So you keep bringing it back into that. 30 days until we get to go, 29 days until we get to go, 15 days until we get to go. It's exciting them in the place where they then join. And when you've got little you saying, we're saving so much money and I've got so many stars. And the teenagers saying, Oh my God, we're almost there. Go, 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 go. How about we save even more money so we can go there a week faster? How about we go and sleep on someone's couch? We can stay for 3 months. Now your teenager's excited, and then it's way easier for the adult to maneuver. But we do it
Yes.
from the opposite. We do from let's be practical, let's be logical. We have to be sensible, and it slows the whole process down. It gets really heavy. It's not much fun. And for a lot of us, we give up. But when you're excited, when you're thinking, how can I do it? How can I do it? How can I do it? Which is the teenager, you're on board, and then you're creative. This is so important. When you let go of the teenager and the child, you're not that creative because you're in planner mode. You're in let's be responsible mode. That's not the mode for excitement, fun, and creativity. So you really need all three. And most of us function mostly out of let's try to be uber responsible. And we need to be. But when you can make it fun to do it. My kids used to tease me because when they lived at home, they're both adults, so they're both moved out of the house now. But when they lived at home, when I cleaned the house, I always listened to country music because it had a fast beat and would keep me going. And I either sucked a lollipop or blew bubble gum. And they would laugh. I'm like, why do you do that? I'm like, because I like country music and it's fun to dance to. And you can go around with the beat as you're dusting and, vacuuming. The teenager gets into it, and it went faster. It was fun.
Yes.
It wasn't such a drag. So to me, the thought is, how can I make this a little bit more of a pleasurable experience to go through? Now, some of your listeners might say, I don't need to do that. You just tell me what to do. I do it. I come through. All is good. Fantastic. You're already integrated. Me, I like it to be pretty stellar exciting. So I make it so. Music, candles, bubbles. Why
I
not?
always
Make
get
noise.
fascinated because I do hear that people like, you just tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it. And I
Mhm.
was like, where in life, like, give me a person who likes being told what to do. Because nobody that I know of ever likes being told what to do. It's like you, at some stage, you'll push the envelope. And that's why I like your gamification, or, like when I clean, listen to music, yes, or podcasts, or now I've started listening to fiction audiobooks. It took me a long time. I was so hesitant because I love to read, but I was like, I just can't, I can't listen to fiction on audio. And now I'm like, why did I not do this a decade ago? But,
Because you're so many more books into your system now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I can multitask. And I can
Mhm.
still enjoy just reading a book for the sake of reading a book. But, finding the ways that make it more pleasurable for you in whatever way that is, and as you said, if it is stickers or highlighting or crossing something off, I love the feeling. I reminded at school when we had the pen and paper diary and do the homework task and I'd put the line through it, such a sense of achievement. Sometimes I've been like, to-do list, step 1, write to-do list, cross it off because I've done something. But finding your easy in
Yeah.
that gets you, all parts of you, like, yeah, let's get this done, as opposed to, as you said, let's be responsible, let's be practical, I'm going to do this until some part of me wants to sabotage it.
Right. Right. Because why do life if you're not going to play? Like if you look at kids who are you know, kids who are healthy in the sense that their body isn't compromised. Because obviously, if you're looking at anybody whose body's compromised or they're just not thriving, it's different. But if you look at other children, like they got it down. They have fun wherever they are. They turn everything into play. And they're so present in the moment. Now, I understand they don't need to worry about mortgage and college and the plumber coming at 3 o'clock. But if you look at the way that they live life, and what we tell them really early is stop playing, stop goofing around, you got to grow up. And kids are like, yuck, why would I want to grow up? You're boring and funny to you, and you're not even happy. Whereas children, until we mess children up, are incredibly happy. And so if we allow ourselves to connect to that part of us, we're going to be too. People will say to me oftentimes on podcasts, what's the favorite part of you? And I'm like, my 3-year-old self. And they say, why? And I said, because she's delightful and she thinks the world's amazing and she wants to love everybody and she feels totally loved and adorable. Like, I think she's friggin' cute. And she's part of me as long as I remember she's there. She's so excited about life. She can't wait. Adult self, I'm 61. I'm a widow. My kids have left. There's a lot of tax.
Mhm.
Air conditioner bills high. My car's in the shop. I got to make dinner. Whoa. So it's letting yourself find those ways to lighten everything up and make it more fun, make it more playful, and absolutely more productive.
I love that. So my next question, because I'm sure listeners will be thinking this, trying to work out how to phrase it, but what about people who, how do I say this? But like, well, I shouldn't have to. Like, as in people who are like stuck to, I wish it had been different. Like, why is it up to me to have to do this? Do you ever have people who are like stimulating?
Yeah, absolutely. But think about the question. Why is it up to me to decide how I want to feel about my life? So my response would be, well, it doesn't have to be up to you. You can let everybody else decide for you what your life will be. And I think you'll be miserable. You
So
also,
how's that going for you?
you can also decide. I had a girl who came in yesterday and she's just been just spinning on a thought. There was an infidelity in a relationship. She's been spinning, spinning, spinning lately. It's a little far out to be spinning this much. And so she said she was spinning all day long. And so then I said, okay, we're going to do this differently now because of where you are. You're going to have 10 minutes to absolutely spin and process and writhe and scream and yell. And then the other 23 hours and 50 minutes, I want you to say, that will be for tomorrow. And she said, yeah, I don't know how that's going to go for me. I don't know how that's going to go for me. And I said, well, let me ask you this. She goes, I think it's actually probably better if I just let it come up on its own. I said, okay. So we've been doing that now for a couple months. And your comment was, now you're thinking about it all the time? Are you starting to think about it more or less? And she went, got it, 10 minutes. But you don't have to.
Yes.
You don't have to really live your life. You can go through the motions if you want. Like, that's up to you. At the end of my life, I so feel like I know what's going to happen. God's going to show up and he's going to say, so what'd you think? And I'm going to say, holy cow. Like, that was friggin' amazing. Super hard and challenging too. But thank you for letting me have this thing called life. And thank you for letting me be Heather. Like, she was a blast, goofy as hell, super smart. I really enjoyed like being her. And then I think God's going to say, did you do everything you wanted? And I'm going to say, hell no, not even close. But I really loved what I did. Isn't that the key?
I love
Don't you
that.
love what you do and who you are? And why should we not? Like, this is your life. Let it be everything it can that you desire to the best of your capabilities. And laugh a lot and love a lot and play a lot. Enjoy. Like,
And
there's
let
so much.
everyone else have their own experience. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes too, we try and control everyone's experience. Recently, one of my bucket list items has always been Disneyland because, you know, what kid doesn't want to grow up and go to Disneyland? And I was like, I might be 40, but, you know, I'm going. Anyway, ended up loving Universal Studios more than Disneyland, which surprised me because that doesn't make the news as much, at least here in Australia. But anyway, there's this ride. called The Mummy Returns. Apparently it's really old, but I'd never been before. But anyway, it stopped. And I said to my sister, let's do that again. Like, I was like ready to go and queue again. And listening to other people going, oh, it's boring. I remember it used to be better. Oh, you know, and it was just, it's interesting. People will have all sorts of opinions. Why should I have to do this? Or other people didn't have to do this. Or, you know, as you said, but you're in charge of your own experience. If you don't like something, then don't. But don't let other people's interpretation of something taint yours. Because I was like, oh. And then when people were complaining about it, I was like, oh, well, maybe the queue will be shorter now.
Exactly.
People
Yeah, it's terrible ride. Don't go on it. Susie Morse says something that's brilliant in her book, Making It Easy. And she says she doesn't have a to-do list. She has a get to-do list. And her viewpoint is anything that I have dreamed about having in my life, I won't complain about. So if I wanted the house really badly, then I don't complain when the air conditioner breaks. And what I say is, I'm really grateful for the fact that I have this house and I have an air conditioner. And I know I'm going to have to figure out how to do the money, but I'm so grateful there is an electrician who can come and take care of my house. If your kid is throwing up, she'll say, thank you, God, that I have this child. And thank you, God, that I can be home today to take care of them. And thank you, we've got a great doctor where they're probably going to be okay. But any place that seems like a challenge, she goes back into a way to be thankful for who she is and the resources she has and where she lives now. And I had somebody run into me. She was a runner while I was bike riding and shattered all my wrists. And I've had surgeries. Yeah, 2 surgeries. And I've got plates and screws and nuts and all this stuff. You know, it's one of those things, 1 second where it like changes your life going forward. And I remember saying to my surgeon, if this had to happen, thank God it's my left wrist, not my right, because it's not my dominant. Thank God my children no longer live at home because I can't drive a car, can't really cook. Like their life would have been really bad if they lived at home. But then I also thought, thank God I live at this stage in life.
Yes.
Because if it was 100 years ago, I wouldn't have had surgery. They would have just left my arm to grow back together, however it would have. And my hand was like an inch over from my wrist. So
you would have had to accommodate for that for the rest of your life, like work out how to be around that.
Or have my arm amputated.
All that too, yeah.
And I'll be fine. I mean, I'm going to have a heck of a lot of PT ahead to learn how to move my wrist again, but I'll be fine.
I love that frame, the get to do list. And, you know, it is so like recently I've had one of my children's been unwell quite a bit and I've had to go into the school repeatedly. And the other day they rang again and I looked at my phone and part of me was like, not today. Like I've got things, you know, that I need to do. But then I was also like, I work for myself. I can move the things around. Like I'm not having to leave an office or try and get a car out of all day parking or, you know, say to my boss or anything like that. I'm just like, I get to do to, you know, and then part of me in the back of my mind is like, oh, you're letting your clients down, you're letting this down. It's like, well, this is life. You're being honest, you're being upfront. And yeah, I live very close to the school and the little things like, you know, yes, there's an injury, but they will recover. It's not, you know, it could be so much worse. So not to downplay it or dismiss, but to be like, this is why we have the lifestyle that I have for this freedom and flexibility of these things that come up unexpectedly.
Absolutely. And your child's still here to take care of.
Yes.
And my hand is still attached.
Yes.
Of the plates. So I'm so grateful to have a hand instead of being, you know, one arm down. And I'm a therapist. So I don't really need my hands that much. It's not like I'm an artist or you know, I'm a baker
or
and my
surgeon.
career, there you go. And my career just, you know, died.
You're
It's
a
been,
violinist or something. Like imagine hands shattered and then you can't pick up your instrument again.
and he said it'll be a year till I'm back to where I was close to before. So if I was a violinist, you know, and athletes have to deal with all of these kinds of things and dancers and musicians, but you think, oh my gosh, it's kind of like when COVID hit. oh my gosh, my career just died for a lot of people. It
And
just,
for a lot of people, they got really inventive and came up with ways and 10x plus their business in something they never would have considered before. Because, what is that? So necessity is the genius or whatever. Like, sometimes you've got to figure it out. And to see the ways that some business flourished online that you never would have considered before.
and that's partially teenager and partially child too. Well, let's just make up something new. Well, what could we do that other people have never thought of before? And then adult steps in and incorporates it. So we don't recognize how powerful these other stages of our life are. And since they've gotten us to this age, of course they're important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if anyone who's listening, who's like, okay, I'm kind of coming around to the idea, have you got how they recommend how they would start? Like, okay, have you got like an example or a exercise or something?
Yeah. If you're willing to look in the mirror, that's the best way to do it. For some people, they're like, oh, hell no. But if you aren't, take a moment and think about looking at your little 3-year-old self, or look up a photo of you when you were 3. Think back to a time when you were 3 and ask yourself, like, how did you have the most fun? What did you love doing? And what would you like us to do now? It's going to be swings,
That's where I
roly-poly,
was, swing.
jumping. It's going to be super simple stuff. And then you ask the teenager, and the teenager, it's going to be go do something, have fun, adventure, something passionate, something loud. And then ask your adult self. And I each day ask each part of me, okay, little Heather, what do you want? She normally wants a hug, or she wants to blow dandelions, or she
Yeah.
wants a really yummy drink. And then I ask teenager, and teenager always wants to do something, go somewhere, make some sort of impact. And so that's part of what I do too. And then adult, I step into, well, then how are we going to do this? And another thing to do, think about your friends. Think about the friend who plays with the 3-year-old. Do something once a month with that friend. Think about the friend who pulls out the teenager, the daredevil, the adventurous, the like, let's press the buttons, borderline legal sometimes too. Do something that's not too illegal with the teenager. And then the adult is the people that we have, we go to dinner with a lot. We go have coffee, but get together with somebody who aligns with that part of you. And you will find your best friends align with younger parts too. It's not just the adult. People say to me all the time, I just have so much fun with you because you're so alive. Or when I'm with you, it's just so goofy, silly. A couple of my friends say you're magical. Can we go on a walk because you're magical? Because my 3-year-old sees stuff. That tree, look, it's waving at us right now. Do you see it? And my friends are like, okay, you're weird. And then they're like, you mean that leaf? And I'm like, uh-huh.
I was
Oh,
thinking, seeing things in the clouds. I often do that with my kids. Like, oh, look, that's Baby Yoda. Or
so fun. And it takes what, 2 minutes? I blew
doesn't take long at all.
dandelions today on the way to work. 1 minute, but it's fun. So just ask yourself, like, am I enjoying today? Am I enjoying being me? And if the answer is no, oh my goodness, do something to change it. Why not enjoy you today? I know you have to do all the business work stuff. We all do. You got to clean the house, got to pay the bills, got to brush your teeth, you got to floss, all that stuff. And there's still time to blow a dandelion, or put on your cowboy boots and stomp, 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 or go a different way to work. There's always time to bring in something a little bit different, just to change it up a little bit
I
and
was to say,
enjoy.
one of my favorite ones to do, this is bad, but when I was a kid, was making prank calls. Not saying you guarantee that, but what happens, I don't know about over there, but here at the moment, so many like spammers will call you. So Instead of making prank calls, letting the spammer call, and then like, so when I get a spam number of my kids around, it's like, who's going to take it? Putting it on the speaker, and as I say, not our finest moment, but man, it's fun. And sometimes we don't even say anything. You just let them go and see if it, like as you said, cowboy boots, looking in the clouds, blowing a dandelion. It takes moments, and it doesn't take away or detract from, yeah, you have responsibilities, bills to pay, teeth to clean, sheets to clean, whatever. But you can spend a couple of moments having some fun today, not when you've saved up, met the man, lost the weight, built the business, whatever. Because often, what's that saying? How you do one thing's how you do most things, or whatever. Once you've achieved this, if you're still in the mindset of, and you're not magically happy, you'll be like, oh, it needs to be more money. It needs to be more weight. It needs to be more clients. It needs to be like, someone who's perpetually unhappy is going to be perpetually unhappy always. It's why I have, for those of you watching on YouTube, got fool's gold next to my computer always, because it's to remind me that, what's never enough, it's never enough. So, because you think, oh, this next thing, once I've done this, then, and it's like, no, why not now? As you said, even for a moment, doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities
At
or
all.
anything like that. It's just, for a moment, I can prank call and spam or respond to an email. Like, I had one the other day, and they were like, they kept emailing me and I was ignoring them. And I was like, oh, I hope you haven't been eaten by crocodiles. And I wrote back, I was like, well, yes, I have. So, make it a bit of fun. I hope this
Absolutely.
email finds you well. No, it's actually found me at my wit's end. Like, how am I going to respond to that?
I had to put my dog down recently, my sweet little dog. He had this horrible erupting tumor, and he was struggling. He was not doing well. It was right after this had happened. It was really bizarre, 3 days later. And I went to the store because I was buying myself some ice cream that day. And I was just sad. And the teller, bless his little heart, said, "Are you having a good day?" But the way he said it,
That made
celebration.
balloons come.
How'd that come? Yeah, I'm having a great day now. Thank you for
I've
balloons.
never worked the balloons out. It just, like, I've tried
How
thumbs
did
up
that
and
happen?
hearts, and it just suddenly,
I got balloons. How fun. But he said, "Are you having a good day?" And I said, "Really, no." And he said, "Oh no, what happened?" And I said, I just had to put my dog down. And he said, "Oh, ma'am, I am so sorry. I had to do that a couple years ago. It was really hard." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm so sorry you had to." He goes, "I'm so sorry you had to." I said, "Well, thank you." He goes, "Have I made you feel better?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you've made me feel better." So why not let whatever comes your way, balloons, somebody who's nice at the store, whatever, be a blessing, instead of walking around kind of automatic saying, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Wrong number. This is a wrong number. This is a wrong number." Yeah, have some fun with it. Why not?
and there's so many little ways you can do it. Like here, there's a lot of self checkouts now. I'm not so much sure in the States, but they used to be, you'd line up, but now they have the little thing that the groceries move. Anyway, if someone behind me only has one or two, I usually will pick it up and start putting it through on mine. And some people will freak out, go, "Oh, no, no, it's mine." It's like, yeah, I'm like giving this to you. And how they try and like give me cash or whatever. So I don't know. They, if they've got one or two things, it saves them having to get their money out and to go through all the hassle. I've already got all my stuff checked through. Little ways, because making other people's day can sometimes make your day. And watching people respond to that, it's fascinating how well some people receive it and how some people just can't.
Yeah. And with this, I've had to ask for a lot of help where I never really had to before. And it has been so beautiful to have my friends say, "Thank you. Thank you for calling me and asking." And I'm like, "Thank you for being willing." And they say, "Heather, I feel like I never get to do anything for you. You do so much for me." And I'm like, "I need you so much right now." And my friends are telling me, "I like this." I'm like, "Well, this is going to heal, darn it." But
But you can still ask. Like, we flew back from the
right.
States, and I was capable of lifting the thing into the overhead locker, but it was awkward and it was heavy, and the person sitting next to me looked significantly stronger than me. So I was like, "Excuse me, could you lift in this overhead locker?" And he did. And then at the end, I didn't even have to ask him. He got down and handed it to me. I was like, "Thank you." Because I think
I
sometimes
think
we think we have to show why we can't do it. Like, can you do this for me? Show wrist. And it's like, no, I just desire not to lift this.
and I think most people don't want to be forced to do things. But I think
Yes.
most of us actually kind of like helping when the person's really kind or really thoughtful or really gracious. And I think it brings out the best of us. I was in line. There's a thing called Taco Bell here in the States, and it's a taco fast food Mexican thing. And when my son was living at home, he just loved it. So about once a week, I'd tell him on the way home from work, like, I'll stop, what do you want me to get? And I got in line, and there were two cars ahead of me, and it went unbelievably slow. Like, it was crazy how long it took. And when I finally got up to the window, I said, "What's up with Taco Bell tonight?" And the woman said, "You wouldn't believe it." And I said, "What?" She said, "The person ahead of you paid for you." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Is that why it took so long?" And she goes, "Actually, not quite." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Because the person ahead of them paid for them." I said, "Oh, so we're too deep right now?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, I'm paying for the people behind me." And she goes, "They have a really big order." And I went, "Uh-oh." And she goes, like, $25. And I'm like, "I'm paying for the people behind me." And she goes, "This is awesome." And I said, "I hope this happens all night long for you." And she said, "It's magical tonight at Taco Bell."
That is
How
so awesome.
cool. Like, and how many times I've told that story? So many, because somebody in front of line like created this wonderful opportunity for all these people to be grateful and then pay it forward.
I love that. That's
So
beautiful.
fun.
Well, thank you, Heather. We've covered a lot of ground today. So,
Yeah.
when people listen to this, let the listeners know what it is that you do and where they can find you to find out more.
So I'm a psychotherapist and I'm a coach. Those are my two big things. I also have a book, Speaking with the Heart, which is on conscious and compassionate communication for couples. TEDx speaker, I've got workshops, tons of freebies. So if you're interested in anything or you have questions, just go to my website. It'll be in the show notes, but it's www.drheatherbrowne.com. And I coach internationally. Book is available on Amazon. And the freebie page is really good. I think I have like 6 or 7 freebies, so go check it out. Or if you have a question about something, please reach out and just pop me an email. I'll be happy to answer it in any way that I can, because I think it's really beautiful to try to help the people around us.
I love that. Thank you, Heather. And I appreciate you for spelling it out, especially, with different surnames or different pronunciations of things. Sometimes people end up, so always good. And I will pop it in the show notes. So thank you everyone for listening. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.